Welcome back. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. As you've no doubt seen from the title, we are going to have a little look at some Trench Crusade lore. See, I'm kind of familiar with Trench Crusade, in that I have backed one of the Kickstarters for the Communicant Tank Hunter, great looking model, and because my entire Armoured Company only really came to be because I saw some artwork by Mike Francina, the guy behind Trench Crusade, who does a lot of the visual design stuff. All the visual design stuff? I'm not sure, but he does the vast majority of the artwork related to that setting, right? And I saw some of his art and decided to make a Baneblade version of a tank that he drew for Trench Crusade, the setting, the universe, however you want to phrase it. But I've kind of held off on fully checking it out until now. I haven't actually really looked into the story, into the background, into the lore, any of that stuff. Today that changes. Let's have a look together. Let's learn. Let's go on a journey. Let's explore the unknowns in a sort of like, well, from the safety of my own home where I don't have to go anywhere or do anything. Let's explore things from there. That's a lot less strenuous than actually going anywhere. Also, before we get into things, this video is sponsored by Into the AM. We'll hear more from them in a little bit. So, we're going to have a look at this, the Trench Crusade lore sampler, glasses on, otherwise I won't be able to read any of the text, which would be rubbish. I mean, you kind of just immediately get a feel for what the deal is just from this picture. I think as introductory images go for something like a setting, whether it be just fiction or like just a universe in general for a game, for a series of novels, whatever you want, that is a fairly striking initial image. It's pretty hardcore. It's pretty great. Okay, let's keep. Also, I totally nicked this as well. This that like the whole thing of having a shell in a shrine. Both of my Baneblade and my Banesword both have little shrines with shells in them. Because I mean, how cool is that as an image? Ridiculous, ridiculously good. Okay, so as you can see, Trench Crusade lore sampler, this is version 1. It'll no doubt be expanded as they go along. Created by Mike Francina. Game design is Thomas Pirinen. I'm really sorry. And the layout is James Sheriff. You've got a credit, right? Where possible, you've got a credit. Be nice if I could do that with like the sculpts that we look at fairly regularly that come from large companies such as Games Workshop. Lovely to be able to credit the individual artist at the time, wouldn't it? This is not the time for that. This is not the time for that. We don't need to go into that now. During the First Crusade, the armies of the Church captured the Holy City. Under the most holy of temples, the Knights Templar discovered secret vaults, and within them, an ancient demonic artifact. Right, first warning, you don't mess with ancient demonic artifacts. Leave it alone. Don't touch it. Put it in a lead line case, bury it somewhere, or burn it. Probably, actually, I'd imagine like a demonic artifact specifically probably wouldn't be burnable. That probably wouldn't work. The Templars, blinded by greed and with weakness in their hearts, fell to their knees. They had found a new lord. They clearly weren't on it, were they? They clearly weren't on it, right? That lot shouldn't have been trusted. Seeing the unholy wisdom of which the artifact spoke, they began trafficking with devils and committing all manner of unspeakable rites, as you would. This was the first heresy. The armies of the Church retreated, and Jerusalem became a depraved pit, where hell and our mortal plane now bleed into one. You know, as origin stories for horrific wars go, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. For 8 centuries, the Church waged its crusade to take back the Holy City. For 8 centuries? Jesus, unreal. Okay, that's interesting. My kind of, I sort of had an idea of it being a lot less than that. Because I've not really looked into this, I really thought that it was not that long a time. Like, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what I thought, but I didn't think 8 centuries. That's rough. That is bad. The landscape has been utterly devastated, crisscrossed with thousands of miles of mud trenches and craters. The crusade is now waged with armies wielding terrifying weaponry, and both sides conjure up supernatural beings of such immense power, they are nigh unstoppable. Yeah, there we go. Even with such incalculable might, the armies are at a stalemate. This is the Trench Crusade. I mean, it's the way to do that sort of infinite war setting, isn't it? Both sides obscenely powerful, both sides chucking away all sense of, well, I'd imagine hell didn't have morals to begin with, but you get what I mean. Just everything thrown into war, but everything's just got to the point where there is no more ground really to be gained or lost. It's just permanently stuck in one position. Okay, cool. Right. Oh my god, that's a good image. That looks solid. What is whose side is that on? This is gonna be an interesting game. We're gonna see something. We're gonna go, who made that? Who are they fighting for? Is that a on the side of God or on the side of hell person right there? Because frankly, it could be either. It could be either. I mean, I'm assuming both sides have use for assassins, right? Okay, a brief and incomplete timeline of the Trench Crusade. Biased and likely inaccurate. Good, excellent. So, 1099, the First Crusade captures Jerusalem, the Knights Templar commit the act of ultimate heresy, the gate of hell is open on earth, and Jerusalem is destroyed in the Cataclysm. Bad times in 1099, 1101, the year of 3 battles. Heretics, reinforced by the armies of the Third Circle of Hell, conquer most of the Levant. Okay, 1102, the ancient city of Antioch is fortified and becomes the focal point of resistance against the forces of Hell. So we've got our central fortress then. Okay, that's cool. 1106, Kobar becomes the first tyrant of the 66. I'm assuming we'll learn more about what that means later. Although then again, even if that's just a throwaway line. And I am expecting this to be like, there will just be throwaway references to stuff that sounds awesome and impressive, but right now don't mean anything. I'm fully expecting that, and I'm kind of hoping for that at the same time, because I feel like that kind of vague detail, that works quite well for this kind of, you know, never-ending war sort of setting. 1109, the Great Sultanate of the Invincible Iron Wall of the 2 horns that pierce the sky is for... Jesus, I ran out of breath trying to say that. The Great Sultanate of the Invincible Iron Wall of the 2 horns that pierce the sky is formed. In the coming decades, it unifies the Islamic factions. The Great Iron Wall of Iskandar re-emerges and is fortified against the heretics. It sounds good. It sounds... I mean, I wouldn't like to go back and try and say that all again without tripping over it, but it sounds cool. Okay, so 8 years after that, the legendary 17 martyrs travel to the earthly domains of hell to convert the heretics. Terrible idea. Captured, tortured, and kept in a perpetual state of agony, they remain trapped within white-hot brazen bulls to this day. To this day? To this day. Now. It's been going on for 800 years, and that was, what, like 20, not even 20 years after the war started. To this day. Sucks to be them, and I have to admit, wouldn't be my first choice trying to convert heretics. I feel like by that point, the line in the sand has been drawn, probably best to just get on with trying to kill him. But, you know, points for trying. 1165, the old man in the mountain and his... I've never been able to say that word. Hashashins, it's very difficult, defend the mountain fortress of Alamut. The castle stands this very day, despite being besieged for hundreds of years. 10 out of 10. 1215 to 1306. So we've got a bit of a leap. The wars of... Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? This is a silly idea. This is a silly idea for me specifically to read this stuff out loud. I can't pronounce anything. I can only speak English, and even then, barely. Alright? We all know that I can't talk. This was a wild choice for me to make today. The Wars of Triclavianism. That was... I'm not going to give that a second go. We're going to say that was correct. The church is split and fights a fierce internal conflict. Come on, lads. Don't do that. Heretic domains extend as the faithful fight against each other. Millions perish by sword and fire. Look, you've got enough problems. You do not need to be fighting against yourselves. There are literally, like, demons everywhere, surely. 1346 to 1353. Beelzebub unleashes the Black Grail. Hardcore. Tens of millions were infected, becoming metastatic vessels in the worst plague in the history of mankind. The Corpse Wars begin. That might be my favourite thing so far. That is fantastic. That's so good. The Corpse Wars. What a great name. 1429, Living Saint Jeanne d'Arc drives the Black Grail from mainland Europe. That's cool. 1477, the city of Argos is taken by God and it is no more. I can only think one thing when I hear the word Argos.
Don't you love Argos with the laminated book of dreams?
Okay, 1503, War Prophet Angelos, guided by Saint Eligius, discovers the formula of This video is brought to you by Into the AM. Now, funnily enough, you may already know that I quite like Into the AM because pretty much every video that you see of me I'm wearing one of their t-shirts pretty much every single time, and they've just dropped a bunch of new designs for not just their t-shirts but their tanks as well. The designs as always look absolutely fantastic, and the t-shirts are super comfortable. I have to admit, of the new designs, this one is my favourite. I'm just an absolute sucker for this. Did you get it? An absolute sucker for this. It's sucker because the tentacles, they've got a little whatever. Also, it glows in the dark, and I was unreasonably happy when I found that out. Into the AM are currently having a 4th of July site-wide sale, 30% off, and if you use my link, which you can find in the description and in the pinned comment down below, my coupon code KiriothTV, you will get a further 10% off of that. If ever you were going to go and check them out, surely this is the time. Surely this is the time. Thanks to Into the AM for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. Is that the worst sponsor segue we've ever had on this channel? Quite possibly. But you know what? I have no regrets, because I have just spent maybe 5 minutes sitting here trying to work out if I can, in fact, it's not been 5 minutes, but still, orichalcum steel, that's what I'm saying that says. It's incorrect. Though extremely costly produced, the metal proves to be effective against all missile weapons and is still used to this day. Also a defensive thing. Okay, cool. 1545 Antioch destroyed utterly by a mysterious oh, that's a shame. I quite liked Antioch. I mean, Antioch lasted though. So 1102, the ancient city of Antioch is fortified and becomes the focal point of resistance, and then it takes until 1545 for it to be destroyed. Not even like in a siege or something, by a mysterious infernal weapon. So someone probably snuck something in, didn't they? Snuck in a cheeky hell nuke? That's not a real thing. A real thing. What do you mean a real thing? Shut up. 1573, Sacred Order of the Dragon halts the heretic advance after the destruction of Byzantium. A million heretics impaled in the hills of Wallachia. A million heretics. Oh my god. Okay, 1595, Walls of New Antioch completed. Let's go, Antioch's back. That's made me surprisingly, I don't know why that's made me so happy. It just has. I don't know, I just liked the fact that there was this central fortress and it was doing quite well, but then things went bad. But now it's back, so I'm happy. 1666, the year of 6 woes. In a surprise raid, the newly created heretic fleet captures Gibraltar. Oh dear. The sea fortress becomes a heretic base of operations against Europe. Forces of hell gain access to the Atlantic. I will admit, I would have been extremely disappointed if something disastrous hadn't happened in 1666. Like, it's right there. It's right there. You cannot have 666 in there and not have something bad go wrong, okay? So, excellent. Good work. 1670, due to the constant coastal raids by the heretic fleet, the Crown of England begins the construction of the Fortress of the White Cliffs. Love that. 1703, against all odds, a small force of Hebrew knights, striking from their secret fortress, destroy the Templar stronghold at Acre. Is that a bad thing or a good thing? I can't remember. Oh no, the Templars. Okay, sorry, no, the Templars fell, didn't they? So 1099, the Knights Templar commit the act of. Okay, so that's, you know, it's still kind of ingrained, I guess. Like the idea of the Templars being a Christian force, because, you know, that's what they started out as. So just for a minute there, I really was like, is this more infighting, or is this like kind of? It's fine though. I think that's technically good. Maybe as we read on, we'll discover that's not the case. But for now, 1805, a heretic fleet under the command of High Captain Ranger defeats the fleet of England in the Battle of the Bloody Cliffs. Admiral Nelson is slain in combat. No, Nelson, not Nelson. And then in 1866, so a good 61 years later, there's big jumps going on. In the utmost secrecy, heretic scientists, aided by the demon Marbus, construct the first modern what? The first modern submarines. In what? 1866. The first modern submarines. I'm acting surprised, but it's a completely, it's a fantasy-esque version of actual, you know, the world and so on and so forth. I don't know why I'm really. Oh, it's going to be, the pace is going to be different, right? It's going to be different. 1870, launch from Gibraltar, the heretic submarine fleets extract a heavy toll on the merchant navies. Widespread famine ensues. Oh, that's bad. 1872, heretic forces storm the city of, I can't pronounce that either. Riker? Probably not. It is fortified and heretic conquest is launched against the European mainland. Wow, so it is like actually really getting very, very bad. Like very, very bad. 1894, the year of Broken Trinity, the Death Commando simultaneously assassinate the Supreme Pontiff, the High Priestess Aella, and the Holy Roman Emperor. Oh, oh boy. Oh boy, that's bad. The faithful are thrown into turmoil. I do like it. The faithful are thrown. Understandable. I can see it. I can see why they'd be thrown into turmoil, sure. The heretic legions, commanded by Hell's nobles of the Seventh Circle and a huge vanguard of tanks, launch a simultaneous lightning offensive in the Levant and Europe. 1899, Church space program commences. That feels like a vast tonal shift. That feels like a vast tonal shift. I don't know why that's quite funny to me, but it is. Not in a bad way. I just like all the big religious leaders are dead. What are we going to do? We're going to space. I don't know why it makes me think of Tim Curry in, is it Red Alert or is it Generals? Either way, I got that sort of vibe. I'm going to the one place that hasn't been infected by hell, space. 1907, the construction of the moving fortress of Britannia is completed. Hell yes, that sounds incredible. 10 out of 10. 1910, Battle of Cordoba, a bloody stalemate. Heretic artillery devastates the ancient city, but the heretic forces fail to gain access to the heartlands of Hispania. And then 1914 is the present day. Both sides preparing for major offensive operations. In the huge swathes of no man's land, furious skirmishes and raids increase in intensity as the faithful and heretics vie for information, powerful relics, and securing strategically important positions. Okay. Also, we've kind of not really addressed the elephant in the room, which is the woman with her front missing on that page. Yeah. This video is absolutely getting flagged, right? It's 100% getting flagged. There's not a chance in hell this is going to remain monetized. I'm just throwing that out there. Whatever. I mean, InstaAM very kindly sponsored it, so hopefully, that'll offset the fact that this is definitely not going to earn me any money from ads. That's a really cool bit of artwork. I like that a lot. The idea of a big old cross covered in antenna, I don't know why that's cool, but it is cool. It definitely is. I think there's quite a few sort of elements of that in here. I'm not really sure why I like some of this. I think just overall it's a very fun concept. I mean, fun to read about, fun to kind of engage with. Obviously not fun to be in. It's an actual nightmare. But, you know, for the purpose of entertainment, very, very fun. Okay. Let's do a little bit more. How long have I been recording for? This is going to end up getting cut down a bit. But, also I'm not entirely sure if this is going to work. We'll see. I mean, if you like this is not going to be the whole primer, because otherwise we'll be here all day. But if you like this, and this is a fun way of kind of engaging with this and learning a bit more, like us doing it like together as like a little kind of, like a little journey, finding out more about Trench Crusade, then I'll do more of these. I would like to. I'm really enjoying this, so I hope you are as well. So let's carry on a bit. The armaments of the Trench Crusade. After raging for 8 centuries, the Great War has produced a bewildering variety of weaponry, equipment and armour, and due to the power of both heaven and hell taking active role on the battlefield, a warband participating in the Trench Crusade often has a fascinating and exotic panoply of both ancient and modern weapons, which is one of the things that makes the aesthetic of this whole setting so cool. It's the fact that you do have, like, knights with sword and shield, but then you also have like 8-foot tall, weirdly emaciated freaks wearing helmets with no eye holes, carrying anti-tank rifles. You got a broad spectrum, like a big like range of the relatively normal to the what the hell is this? Like, I know there's one called the Artillery Witch, which is a witch who holds artillery shells, like mind powers or something. And I've seen that artwork, and it is insanely good. So, okay, it was the work of the followers of Saint Eligius, I pronounced that differently last time, the patron saints of metal workers, that allowed the weaponsmiths and armourers of the Holy See to produce steel alloys imbued with divine light. Metals more malleable and harder than any normal steel, though the cost is enormous. Suits of armour can be wrought that are able to withstand a hail of bullets. That's class. This excellence of the infantry field armour remains to this day, keeping abreast with the advances of firearms and explosives. Meanwhile, the Heretic Legions have gained access to hellish metals from the twisted crucibles of Tartarus, exceeding the strength of mundane steel, though often at a terrible cost, obviously. For carrying such weapons, or donning an infernal suit of armour, burns both the body and the soul, leaving behind festering wounds that never heal. That, I mean, it sounds legit. Surely, if you... Look, this is just... I just don't think going with hell is a good idea. I don't think being a heretic's worth it. I feel like you don't get like bang for your buck, you know? Well, you might get bang for your buck, but it's a lot of buck, right? Thanks to these advances in metallurgy, Titanic artillery pieces exceeding 300 feet are constructed in the foundries of New Antioch, while the forges of hell turn out truly colossal machines of death of their own. The largest known piece, the dreaded Mouth of Hell, measuring a staggering, 666 feet in length, obviously, and boasting 1,666 millimeters in caliber, because of course, the massive artillery barrages pockmark no man's land, creating a hellscape on Earth between the heretic and faithful forces. It's over these pieces of land that the warbands of both sides travel, scouring every inch for usable weapons, holy objects of power, armor, food, armor, and more. We've kind of got like, it feels like there's like the greater setting, and then there's almost like the post-apocalyptic setting within the ongoing apocalypse, if that makes sense. Because it feels like you've got hell on one side, you've got the faithful on the other side. There is like some stability either way, but then in the middle there's just an absolute, nightmare wasteland full of death and awful, which warbands have to kind of scavenge through to continue being able to survive in said awful wasteland. I like this. This is fun. Due to the protection offered by modern armour, close quarter combat is frequent and brutal. Trench clubs and polearms, lead-tipped great maces, and hellforged swords are all used to deadly effect when storming enemy trenches. Enemies such as Heretic Anointed are often so heavily armoured that only concentrated effort can bring one of these survivors of the Lake of Fire down, and even then they often have to be finished off in brutal melee combat with misericordia daggers, looking for a chink in their unholy armour. That's interesting. That's quite fun. Those brave or suicidal enough to wield anti-tank hammers, okay, pole arms with explosives powerful enough to tear apart even the strongest of armour. That's really fun. Is that a thing? Is that a legit thing? Is that like a thing that existed for a while, or is that something that's just been made up? Because I feel like surely someone during like World War One, World War Two, probably more World War Two, I would assume, because the tanks much more prevalent. But surely someone had the idea of, can we just stick an explosive on the end of this pole and chuck it at something? I mean, it's absolutely rife in Mad Max Fury Road and in Furiosa, which wasn't as good, but never mind. But obviously, those aren't any metric for real life, because look at them. Still, the humble bolt-action rifle is the workhorse of the battlefield, and most yeoman soldiery, again, why have I done this? I can't pronounce anything, as well as Heretic Legionnaires carry it. Many other weapons, though rarer, are in common use: machine guns, sniper rifles, grenades of both shrapnel and gas variety, as well as experimental anti-material rifles. Anti-material rifles? Oh, so like anti-tank. While the heretic forces are equipped with blades of eternally burning fire. I mean, this sounds like cheating. Living bullets that infect their targets and turn them into undead metastatic vessels, forever bound in servitude to the devils. I mean, come on. This isn't on, is it? This isn't on. You got lads on, like, the faithful side running in with pole arms with explosive attached to them, and you've got just bolt-action rifles. Hella going around with living bullets that infect people. Absolutely. I mean, come on. That's like using summons in Elden Ring. I'm joking. Do what you like. If you want to beat the game using summons, do it. If you want to do it at room level 1, using only your fists and using your face to control your character, do that too. It doesn't matter. It's a game. Who cares? Stop it. And heavy flamethrowers forged in the iron pits of Dis, belching the flames of the Lake of Fire where damned souls wither for all eternity. So does that mean if you get hit with that flamethrower, you burn for all eternity, or only if you are in that pit do you have it? Either way, bad times. With both infernal and divine powers actively at work on Earth, holy icons, symbols, cursed trinkets and unholy artifacts are carried by soldiery of all ranks. That's really fun. Their power is undeniable and has turned the tide of many a battle. Martyrdom pills are taken regularly by trench crusaders looking to take the enemies of God down with martyrdom pills. Oh my god, great idea. They inure the faithful against pain and exhaustion, but extract a brutal toll after their effect wanes. That is hardcore. Love that. Many trench pilgrims wear iron capricoats that both shield their minds from the horror of the creatures of hell, but also incorporate a gas mask in their design. Practical, a useful feature on battlefields where the use of chlorine and mustard gas, as well as more dire fumes created by the twisted chemists in the Bolgius of Inferno, is commonplace. It just sounds awful in the best way. Elite forces have even more advanced and esoteric... Look at that picture, that's so good. Elite forces have even more advanced and esoteric equipment and arms. For example, the Observers of the Synod of Strategic Prophecy. The Observers of the Synod of Strategic Prophecy. Again, that is a 10 out of 10 name. Would read again. Did read again, actually. Wear a specially constructed helmet which allows them to hear the voice of God, and thus allows them to perceive immediate past, present, and futures simultaneously to a degree. This is batshit. I love this. This allows them to perform martial feats unrivaled, but it comes at a cost. A living human is not meant to hear the holy words, and as the voice of God never decays, they must concentrate with superhuman focus to hear what they need to pick to the right course of action. Sleep is impossible with the divine echo ringing in their ears. Heavy sedation and use of mind-altering drugs is necessary for them to withstand the heavy burden of their battlefield role for any length of time. Oh my god. What? Oh, so good. That's made my day. That's fantastic. The accompanying picture shows the trench pilgrims of the procession of the sacred affliction. Okay. So that's one of the... See, I've seen the artwork for a trench pilgrim, but it's the one he's got like a big pyramid helmet on, which I think in the previous page was mentioned. So this one is a trench pilgrim of the procession of the sacred affliction. They are known for their zeal for close quarters combat. Their icon armor and shields, which despite appearances can withstand machine gun bullets. Wow. Okay, and the millstones they carry in order to tie them around the necks of sinners before they suffocate them in the mud and blood of no man's land. Right. Again, hardcore. Hardcore. The rifle and the trench club are prepared against the day of battle, but vengeance is of the Lord. Battle Psalms, the New Orthodox Syncretic Bible. Oh my god, what? Right. You know what? We're half an hour in. I'm gonna have to cut this down anyway, but this feels like a good place to... We've got a rough overview, right? We've got a rough overview of the timeline. We've got a vague idea as to the vaguest idea is to lay out. You kind of got your overall conflict, but then you've got this awful wasteland in the middle in the form of no man's land, which is where the game is sort of set, where you build up your warbands and you fight other warbands and so on and so forth. It's going to get more specific now. Been recording for about half an hour. I think what I'll do is we'll stop it there, and if you guys like this and if this is fun, then I'll do more. If it's not, if as a format you're like, I would prefer something more polished, then I'll look at that instead. But as I say, I've been kind of not avoiding it. I've seen artwork, I've seen images, I've seen people do really cool conversion stuff for Trench Crusade, but I wanted to save looking at the background for it for some sort of stream or video or something. And today just felt like the day. So let me know what you think. If we want to do more, we'll do more. If you're not sure that it works, then we can look at doing something else. And yeah, I really enjoyed reading that a bit. I'm struggling to not just carry on reading this. I might quit the page so I don't tempt myself. Thank you very much for watching this. Again, bit different, bit experimental. We'll see how it goes. Thank you very much to Into the AM for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to check them out using my link in the description and in the pinned comment. Again, it's 30% off site-wide. It's also 10% off on top of that if you use my link. It's totally worth having a look at. yeah, thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you thought of that in the comments down below. Let me know if you enjoyed it and whether we should do some more. And I will leave you there. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.